This presentation explains the integrated marketing strategy developed for Front Range Water Strategies, LLC. The purpose is to show how the team moved through a structured marketing strategy process. First, understanding the organization and its marketing system, then defining the problem, identifying and evaluating customer groups, setting measurable goals, selecting a product strategy, and then building the distribution, pricing, promotion, and budget decisions around that strategy. The presentation is organized sequentially so that each decision builds from the prior section. We do not begin with a product or customer assumption. Instead, we begin with the organization, identify the problem, determine who shares that problem, and then recommend the solution that creates the strongest value for customers, Front Range Water Strategies, and society. Front Range Water Strategies is positioned as a Colorado-based water and sustainability consulting firm. The proposed strategy builds from the company's existing work in water, energy efficiency, audits, dashboards, and advisory services for food and beverage businesses. It extends current capability into a related water energy problem. Externally, marketing coordinates customers, utilities, technology partners, equipment partners, industry associations, and regulators. The strategy depends on those relationships because no single organization controls the full energy and emissions system. The stakeholder links are critical. Customers must share meter data before incentive programs can be used. Utilities and equipment partners must coordinate approved upgrades. Associations create credibility before outreach begins. Technology partners support the dashboard. A failure in any link can slow implementation or weaken the strategy. Internally, the strategy requires coordination across leadership, technical experts, analytics, sales, finance, and client success. Marketing connects the promise made to the market with the work required to deliver that promise after a brewery signs on. Internal handoffs cannot be assumed. Sales needs technical evidence before making savings claims. Analytics needs process context from experts. Client success needs coordinated delivery after the sale. If those handoffs break down, the customer experience weakens and retention risk increases. When the system works, value is created at 3 levels. Breweries reduce cost and gain process visibility. Front Range creates recurring advisory revenue. Society gains lower waste, lower emissions, and stronger resource accountability. The problem statement is that food and beverage manufacturers face rising energy costs and emissions driven by their dependence on water-intensive processes. At this stage, we are not naming an audit, software platform, or dashboard as the answer. The focus is the opening pressure itself. Solving the problem creates value for customers, Front Range, and society at the same time. Manufacturers need lower cost and better visibility. Front Range can create a new advisory revenue stream. Society gains when heating, cooling, pumping, cleaning, and wastewater systems use less energy. The identification process kept the work from jumping to a solution too early. Customer questions came first. Then the team challenged the product first frame and validated whether the issue was shared broadly enough to justify investment. The core problem became rising costs and emissions with limited process level visibility. The problem also needed to match Front Range's capabilities. The team already understands water energy processes in food and beverage operations, so the strategy expands existing expertise instead of pulling the company into an unrelated market. The validation check confirms that the problem is specific enough to solve and broad enough to matter. It names the industry, the cost driver, and the operating context, while still leaving room to compare customer groups and product options. The broader market is food and beverage manufacturers, especially mid-size operators that are large enough to feel energy cost pressure, but not large enough to maintain specialized internal energy teams. Monthly utility bills give total cost, but not process-level causes. 2 customer groups were compared, production-scale craft breweries and dairy processing facilities. Both share the energy and emissions problem, but they differ in accessibility, buying processes, regulatory complexity, and alignment with Front Range's current strengths. Craft breweries are attractive because the problem can be measured at the barrel level. Heating, cooling, cleaning, compressed air, and wastewater affect cost per barrel. Many breweries lack in-house energy expertise, and decisions are often made by the owner or head brewer. Dairy processors also face major energy demands through pasteurization, refrigeration, cleaning, and wastewater treatment. The challenge is that these facilities are usually larger, more regulated, and tied to corporate procurement and internal engineering teams. The criteria compare value creation before a solution is selected. Market size, severity, revenue opportunity, alignment, sustainability impact, long-term demand, and energy cost sensitivity were used to decide which group represented the strongest first market. The matrix confirms the gap between the 2 groups. Craft breweries scored 4.9 out of 5, while dairy processors scored 3.2. Both groups face a serious problem, but breweries are more accessible for market entry. The selected group is production-scale craft breweries producing 1,000 to 10,000 barrels per year. The decision was not based on preference alone. Breweries scored higher because Front Range can reach them faster, serve them with existing expertise, and demonstrate direct economic value. 4 criteria created most of the gap: market size, revenue opportunity, energy cost sensitivity, and organizational alignment. Brewery owners feel energy costs directly and can make decisions quickly. Dairy processors may have the need, but the sales cycle and capability requirements are heavier. The selection creates value across all 3 levels. Customers gain margin protection and operating visibility. Front Range gains a repeatable brewery market. Society gains from distributed emissions reductions across many smaller manufacturers. The team began with 10 possible goals and narrowed them down to 4. The selected goals were the ones most directly connected to the problem, the brewery customer, Front Range's business model, and broader environmental value. Goal 1 is to reduce energy cost per barrel by 12% within 12 months. This is the most direct customer value goal because owners can see whether the strategy improves margins. Goal 2 is to reduce energy consumption per barrel by 10% within 18 months. Costs can change because of rates, but kilowatt hours per barrel confirms whether the brewery is operating more efficiently. Goal 3 focuses on emissions documentation. At least 10 of the first 12 clients should be able to document emissions from water-intensive processes within 12 months of onboarding. Goal 4 tests whether the strategy works as a business. The target is 12 brewery clients and at least 10 retained within 18 months, supported by recurring revenue and controlled acquisition costs. The KPIs measure market acceptance, retention, service effectiveness, and accountability. Together, they prevent the strategy from being judged by activity alone, such as leads or meetings, instead of measured outcomes. Across the goals, customers receive cost savings and documentation. Front Range gains revenue and credibility, and society gains energy waste reduction and more transparent emissions reporting. Before choosing a product, the team asked whether anything should be built at all. Because the problem involves resource use, the preferred approach avoids unnecessary physical consumption. That points toward a service and knowledge-based program. 3 options were evaluated: a one-time audit, a monitoring dashboard, and an integrated program. The audit is feasible but limited. The dashboard creates visibility but lacks advisory depth. The integrated program combines diagnosis, guidance, monitoring, reporting, and ongoing review. The product criteria measure whether each option solves the customer problem, matches customer need, aligns with company capability, supports recurring revenue, and creates sustainability value without unnecessary consumption. The matrix supports the integrated program. The audit scored 3.3, the dashboard scored 3.35, and the integrated program scored 4.85. The highest weight goes to solving the customer problem, which is why the full program outperforms the narrower options. The scoring justification identifies the trade-off. A dashboard is scalable, but Front Range would need new technical capabilities. An audit is easier to deliver, but it ends too quickly. The integrated program balances feasibility, customer value, revenue, and impact. Each program component maps to a specific problem. The audit identifies cost drivers, consulting reduces waste, the dashboard provides ongoing visibility, emissions reporting creates accountability, quarterly reviews keep the work active after onboarding. The recommendation is the Integrated Energy Efficiency and Emissions Program. It gives breweries ongoing support, gives Front Range recurring revenue, and reduces environmental impact without creating a physical product or traditional supply chain.
The selected channel is direct-to-consumer and digital-first. Because this is a customized professional service, breweries need direct access to technical experts. Resellers would add markup and increase the chance of communication gaps. The fulfillment process runs from inquiry through discovery, proposal, contract, onboarding, on-site audit, dashboard setup, quarterly review, and annual reporting. This gives the customer a predictable path and gives Front Range a repeatable operating model. Because there is no physical product, the distribution system avoids packaging, warehousing, and shipping waste. Travel is limited to work that truly requires site presence, while reports and reviews are delivered digitally. Distribution creates customer convenience, business efficiency, and societal value. The direct digital model lowers overhead, improves responsiveness, supports retention, and reduces the carbon footprint of service delivery. The pricing and promotion decisions are linked. Price has to reflect the value of energy savings and emissions accountability, while promotion has to reach the decision makers who understand that value. Standard pricing falls short because this is not a one-time output. A cost-plus price would focus on Front Range's delivery cost and miss the customer's value created through savings, risk reduction, visibility, and reporting. The pricing model was evaluated against 4 objectives: business viability, customer perceived value, societal benefit, and price discipline. The goal is not simply to charge more. It is to price the service at a level customers can justify and Front Range can sustain. The Davis pricing tactics were used to rule out poor options and retain needed controls. Cost plus and target return pricing are weak primary methods here. Sales price variance and profit impact analysis serve better as monitoring and validation tools. The recommendation is a value-based tier retainer. Essential is about $1,200 per month, efficiency is about $2,400, and enterprise is about $4,000. Smaller breweries can enter at a lower commitment, while large breweries can purchase broader monitoring, reporting, and support. The retainer structure gives Front Range predictable revenue and gives breweries continuing value instead of a one-time report. Emissions reporting is included in the model, so accountability is built into the service rather than treated as a premium extra. The pricing model also avoids harmful incentives. It does not push breweries into more service than they need, and it does not reserve emissions reporting for only the largest customers. The price structure connects back to the goals. The essential tier supports cost reduction, the higher tiers support efficiency monitoring, all tiers support emissions documentation, and the retainer model supports acquisition and retention. Mass promotion does not match this buying situation. Brewery owners and operations directors are not making a casual purchase. They're committing to an ongoing professional relationship, so trust and technical credibility and decision-maker relevance matter more than broad awareness. 7 promotion methods were compared. The top 3 were direct consultative sales at 4.80, brewery association partnerships at 4.50, and educational webinars and white papers at 4.10. Those channels were selected because they reached the right people with credible information. The weights reflect the buying context. Customer trust and decision-maker compatibility receive the highest weights because a low-cost channel creates waste if it reaches the wrong audience or fails to create confidence. Direct consultative sales scored highest because it allows Front Range to qualify prospects in real time. The conversation can connect a brewery's production volume, energy exposure, and reporting needs to the correct service tier. Educational content is selected because many breweries may not recognize the full size of the energy and emissions problem yet. Webinars and white papers teach the problem first, then move qualified prospects towards the service conversation. Association partnerships create trust before the first sales call. A referral or presentation through a brewery organization positions Front Range as an industry resource rather than another vendor asking for attention. Promotion activity is tied directly to the goals. Direct sales supports audit conversions and acquisition. Content supports efficiency and emissions awareness. Associations support lower cost referrals and stronger trust. The annual promotion budget concentrates on the 3 selected methods. The expected results are directory calls, webinar registrations, white paper downloads, referral leads, signed clients, and a blended acquisition cost within target. The logic is summarized across the 3 value categories. Every promotion method must create customer value, business value, and societal value while also being measurable. Price and promotion reinforce each other. Content explains why energy management matters. Associations create credibility. Direct sales connects the customer situation to the right tier. By the time price is discussed, the value has already been framed. The first 90 days focus on foundation, outreach, and refinement. The plan avoids broad paid advertising and invests in CRM setup, targeted brewery outreach and educational content, association relationships, and early signed clients. Across 3 years, the plan projects $720,000 in cumulative revenue, around $130,000 in marketing spend, 16 active clients by the end of year 3, and a year 3 marketing return multiple of about 7.6 times. Revenue ramps up as clients are required and retained. 1 year reflects partial year onboarding, while years 2 and 3 benefit from retained clients and a stronger mix of recurring retainers. Marketing spend stays focused on direct sales, educational content, association partnerships, CRM technology, and content infrastructure. These are the same channels supported by the promotion matrix. The budget progresses by phase. Year 1 builds the foundation, year 2 grows the pipeline and referral system, and year 3 scales credibility through broader partnerships, benchmarking content, and a branded conference at the end. Each budget line is translated into expected results. Spending is tied to demos, downloads, referral leads, close rates, client signings, and all 4 strategic goals. Every dollar is connected to a goal. Direct sales supports cost reduction and acquisition. Content supports efficiency demand. Partnership supports emission-aware referrals. CRM tracks and combines performance. The efficiency of the budget improves over time. Marketing falls from 39.2% of revenue in year 1 to 13.1% in year 3, while revenue per marketing dollar rises from $2.55 to about $7.63. In conclusion, Front Range should proceed with the Integrated Energy Efficiency and Emissions Program for production-scale craft breweries. The customer matrix supports breweries, the production matrix supports the integrated program, and the promotion matrix supports direct consultative sales, association partnerships, and educational content. The result is lower energy cost per barrel, stronger process visibility, emissions documentation, recurring revenue, and reduced energy waste. For those reasons, Front Range should move forward with full implementation. Thank you.